Captain Do-hyun Kim stood on the bridge of the UNSC Persistent. The ship was quiet. Everyone watched the main screen. A huge alien ship appeared there. It was at least 20 times bigger than the Persistent. "That thing is massive," whispered Subin Park from her communication station. Do-hyun nodded but kept his face calm. As captain, he needed to show strength. Inside, his heart beat fast. This was humanity's first meeting with an alien race. "Any response to our greeting message?" he asked. Subin touched her earpiece. "Yes, Captain. They're sending back a video signal." "Put it on screen," ordered Do-hyun. The massive alien ship disappeared, replaced by the image of a creature. It stood tall, with gray-blue skin that looked like armor. 4 yellow eyes blinked at them. Its mouth was wide with many sharp teeth. "Humans," the alien said. The translation computer worked quickly. "I am War Commander Grek of the Vargon Empire. We control 17 star systems. Who speaks for your vessel?" Do-hyun stepped forward. "I am Captain Do-hyun Kim of the United Nations Space Command vessel Persistent. We welcome you to our solar system in peace." The alien's eyes narrowed. "Your ship? It is the biggest in your fleet?" "The Persistent is one of our standard exploration vessels," Do-hyun answered carefully. War Commander Grek made a sound. The translation came through as laughter. "You explore space in this?" More laughter followed. "Show me your warships, human." Do-hyun exchanged looks with his second-in-command, Jin-ho Lee. "We have defensive ships, but we are not at war. We hope to establish peaceful." "Show me," Grek demanded. Do-hyun nodded to Jin-ho, who sent images of Earth's defense fleet. The alien's laughter grew louder. "Such skinny vessels, no armor, tiny weapons. How have you survived this long in a hostile universe?" "Our ships are designed for speed and efficiency," Do-hyun explained. "Earth has limited resources." "Speed will not save you from real weapons," Grek said. "The Vargon Empire always seeks new territories. Your system has many resources we could use." Do-hyun felt a chill run through him. "We have prepared a treaty proposal. We believe we can offer—" "Treaties are for equals," Grek interrupted. "You are not our equals." The bridge fell silent. The alien continued to stare at them, all 4 eyes blinking at different times. "We will return to our territory to report our findings," Grek finally said. "Your species should use this time wisely. Prepare your surrender terms. We will return in 6 of your months to hear them." The screen went dark. "They've cut the transmission," Subin reported. "Their ship is turning around." Do-hyun watched. As the massive alien vessel moved away, then suddenly disappeared into faster-than-light travel. "Send all records of this meeting to Earth Command immediately," he ordered. "And set course for home. Maximum speed." 3 days later, Do-hyun sat in a large meeting room at UNSC headquarters in Seoul. Military leaders and scientists from around the world filled the room. Admiral Ji-woo Lee, head of Earth's defense forces, stood at the front. "The Vargon ship's weapon systems were unlike anything we've seen," reported Chief Scientist Tae-ho Yoon. "Their armor is at least 3 meters thick. One shot from their main cannons could destroy our largest vessels. So we can't fight them directly," said Admiral Ji-woo. "That's clear." "They think we're weak," Do-hyun spoke up. "They laughed at our ships." "Let them laugh," said a quiet voice from the back of the room. Everyone turned. A woman stood up. She wore the uniform of the Defense Strategy Department. Her name tag read, Mi-suk Kim. "I'm sorry, who are you?" asked Admiral Ji-woo. "Mi-suk Kim, defense strategist," she said, walking to the front. "I've studied the data from the Persistent. The Vargons are powerful, but they think in old ways. Their ships are big, strong, heavily armed. They expect us to fight the same way." "But we can't," said someone. "Exactly," Mi-suk smiled. "So we won't." "Captain Kim, your report said they mocked our ships for being skinny with minimal armor, correct?" Do-hyun nodded. "They seemed to think we were defenseless." "Good." Mi-suk turned to Admiral Ji-woo. "We have 6 months. I propose we implement Protocol Minefield. A murmur went through the room. Protocol Minefield was a theoretical defense strategy that had never been used. Admiral Jiwoo looked surprised. That technology is still experimental. The basic science works, said Taeho. My team has successfully tested small-scale gravity disruptors. With proper funding, we could mass-produce them in 4 months. Misuk nodded. The Vargans expect us to build bigger ships or surrender. They won't expect this. For those not familiar with the protocol, Do-hyun said, can you explain? Misuk touched a control panel, and a hologram appeared in the center of the room. It showed small devices floating in space. These look like simple navigation buoys, she explained, but each contains a gravitational disruptor. When activated, they create small areas where gravity becomes unstable. Any ship passing through gets torn apart, finished Taeho. The bigger and heavier the ship, the worse the effect. The Vargans' massive warships would be especially vulnerable, Misuk added, and the devices are nearly invisible to standard sensors. The room was quiet as everyone considered this plan. It's basically a trap, Admiral Jiwoo said finally. We lure them in, then spring it, Misuk nodded. We need a small fleet of our fastest ships to act as bait. Make the Vargans chase them into the minefield. All eyes turned to Do-hyun. Admiral Jiwoo looked at him. Captain Kim, your ship is one of our fastest. Would you lead this mission? Do-hyun felt the weight of the request. It would be dangerous. Many might not return. But he thought of Earth, of his family, of all families. Yes, Admiral. The Persistent will lead the bait fleet. Good, said Admiral Jiwoo. Then it's decided. We have 6 months to prepare Protocol Minefield. Let's get to work. 5 months later, Do-hyun stood in the observation room of the lunar production facility. Below, thousands of small devices moved along assembly lines. How many have we made, he asked. Nearly 20,000, answered Taeho, who now led the production team. Each one able to create a gravity disruption field 5 kilometers wide. Will it be enough? It has to be, said a voice behind them. Do-hyun turned to see Misuk entering the room. In the past months, they had worked closely together, planning the defense strategy. Their professional relationship had grown into something more. The first deployment ships leave tomorrow, she said. They'll position the mines throughout the outer system, creating a web the Vargans will have to pass through. Do-hyun nodded. And my fleet? 10 ships, including the Persistent, all retrofitted with the new engines. They're the fastest vessels humans have ever built. Fast enough to stay ahead of the Vargans, but slow enough to lead them into the trap, Do-hyun said. Misuk touched his arm. This will work. The Vargans are strong, but they're arrogant. They think their way is the only way. They'll never expect a different kind of warfare. Do-hyun looked out at the production floor. Thousands of simple-looking devices. Earth's best hope. They laughed at our skinny ships, he said quietly. Let's see if they're still laughing when they enter our minefield. The day they had all been preparing for finally arrived. 6 months to the day after the Vargans left, Earth's long-range sensors detected movement at the edge of the solar system. Captain Do-hyun Kim stood on the bridge of the UNSC Persistent. His ship floated in space, far from Earth. Behind him were 9 other ships, all similar to his own, all slender, with minimal armor, all fast. Contact confirmed, reported Junho Park from the navigation station. Multiple ships entering the system. How many? Do-hyun asked. Junho looked up, his face pale. At least 50, Captain. Maybe more. The bridge fell silent. Their plan had assumed 20 Vargan ships at most. 50 was more than double that number. Send the alert to Admiral Jiwoo, Do-hyun ordered, and open a channel to all ships in our fleet. Subin Park at communications touched her console. Channel open, Captain. Do-hyun took a deep breath. This is Captain Kim. We all knew this moment would come. The Vargans have returned, and there are more of them than we expected. But our mission remains the same. We make contact. We let them see us. We run. We lead them into the trap. He paused. For Earth. For Earth. came the response from the other captains. Do-hyun nodded to Subin. Close the channel. Now hail the Vargan fleet. A moment later, the main screen lit up. War Commander Grek's face appeared, just as unpleasant as Do-hyun remembered. The alien's 4 yellow eyes blinked. Human, Grek said. You saved us the trouble of hunting for you. War Commander, Do-hyun replied calmly. We've come to discuss your entry into our system. There is nothing to discuss. We have returned as promised. Your time for preparing surrender is over. Do-hyun's expression remained neutral. We've prepared our response, yes. Grek leaned closer to the screen. You are either brave or stupid, human. Look at my fleet. The screen changed to show dozens of massive Vargan warships, each one bristled with weapons. And you face us with 10 tiny vessels? We face you with what we have, Do-hyun said. The screen returned to Grek's face. The alien commander was laughing. Your ships are nothing. They will break like toys against our weapons. Perhaps, Do-hyun agreed. But first you'll have to catch us. He nodded to Jinho Lee, who stood ready at the tactical station. Jinho pressed a button. The Persistent fired a single shot. It wasn't aimed at any of the Vargan ships. It simply flashed past them, a deliberate miss. What is this? Grek demanded. You dare to... Do-hyun cut the transmission. All ships, execute Plan Rabbit. Plan Rabbit confirmed, Jinho replied. All ships acknowledge. Do-hyun strapped himself into his command chair. Maximum speed, Junho, course set for Minefield entry point Alpha. The Persistent surged forward, its new engines glowing bright blue. The other 9 human ships moved with it in perfect formation. The Vargan fleet is pursuing, reported Jinho. All of them. Do-hyun allowed himself a small smile. Pride. Just, as Misuk predicted. They can't stand that we shot at them and ran. The 10 human ships raced away from the Vargan fleet. Their skinny design and powerful engines gave them an advantage in speed, but the alien ships were not slow. They're gaining on us, Junho warned after 20 minutes of flight. Slowly, but they're gaining. They're supposed to, Do-hyun reminded him. We need them to follow us into the minefield, not too fast, not too slow. Estimated time to minefield. Entry point Alpha 15 minutes, Junho reported. Do-hyun opened a channel to Admiral Jiwoo at Earth Command. Admiral, the Vargans have returned with 50 ships. We've made contact and are leading them toward the minefield. Entry in 15 minutes. 50 ships, Jiwoo repeated. More than expected. Are all of them following you? Yes, Admiral. Their pride wouldn't let them ignore our challenge. Good. The minefield is ready. All units are standing by. The communication ended. Do-hyun looked at the tactical display. The red dots representing the Vargan ships were slowly getting closer to the blue dots of the human fleet. 10 minutes to entry point, Junho announced. Status of the Vargan fleet? Do-hyun asked Jinho. Still pursuing at maximum speed. Their front ships are gaining on our rear ships, distance closing. Tell our rear ships to increase speed slightly. We need all Vargan ships to enter the minefield before we activate it. The minutes ticked by. The human ships adjusted their speed carefully, staying just ahead of the Vargan fleet. 5 minutes to entry point, Junho reported. Message from the Vargans, Subin said. They're demanding we stop and surrender. No response. Do-hyun ordered. 3 minutes. The bridge was tense. Everyone knew what was coming. The plan had been practiced countless times in simulations, but this was real. If they made one mistake, if the Vargan somehow detected the trap. 1 minute to entry point, Junho said. His voice was steady, but his hands shook slightly. All ships prepare for execution of plan reversal, Do-hyun ordered. On my mark. 30 seconds. Do-hyun watched the tactical display intently. The human ships were about to cross an invisible line in space, the boundary of the minefield. The Vargan fleet was right behind them. 10 seconds. 5. Entry point reached. All ships execute the safe passage route exactly as planned, Do-hyun commanded. Steady as we go. The Persistent crossed into the minefield, followed by the rest of the human fleet. Each ship followed a precise path. narrow corridors between the thousands of inactive mines floating invisibly in space. Vargon fleet is entering the minefield, Jinho reported. First ships crossing the boundary now. Do-hyun opened a channel to Earth Command. Admiral, Vargon ships are entering the minefield. Confirmed, came Jiwoo's voice. Continue on your path. Let more of them in. The human ships continued their careful flight through the minefield. The Vargon, seeing nothing unusual in the empty space around them, followed. 40 Vargon ships now inside the boundary, Jinho updated. 45, 50. All Vargon ships are now inside the minefield. Do-hyun took a deep breath. Admiral, Jiwoo, all Vargon ships are inside the minefield, awaiting your command. There was a pause. Then Jiwoo's voice came through, clear and firm. Activate the minefield. Do-hyun nodded to Jinho. Send the activation signal. Jinho pressed a sequence of buttons on his console. A simple signal went out from the persistent, just a few lines of code. For a moment, nothing happened. The human ships continued on their careful path through the minefield. The Vargon ships followed, unaware of the trap they had entered. Then, Junho called out, "Captain, something's happening." Do-hyun looked at the main screen. In the darkness of space, thousands of small lights had suddenly appeared. The mines were activating. All ships, hold your exact course, Do-hyun ordered. Do not deviate from the safe path. The first Vargon ship hit a gravity distortion field. The effect was immediate and terrible. The massive warship seemed to stretch in the middle, as if pulled by invisible hands. Metal screamed as the hull twisted. Then in a flash of light, the ship broke apart. "It's working," whispered Subin. More Vargon ships encountered the invisible gravity fields. Some tried to turn, only to run into other fields. The massive fleet, that had seemed so powerful just minutes ago, was now in chaos. "Admiral," Do-hyun reported, "the minefield is active and working. The Vargons are taking heavy damage." "Understood, Captain," Jiwoo responded. "Complete plan reversal." Do-hyun nodded. "All ships execute final phase of plan reversal on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark." The 10 human ships suddenly slowed, then turned 180 degrees. Now, instead of running from the Vargon fleet, they faced it. "Weapons online," Jinho reported. "All ships in position." Through the chaos of the disintegrating Vargon fleet, Do-hyun could see that some ships had managed to stop before hitting the gravity fields. They were trapped, unable to move in any direction without entering a field. "Target the remaining Vargon ships," Do-hyun ordered. "Fire when ready." The human fleet opened fire. Their weapons, designed to exploit weaknesses in Vargon shielding, struck with precision. "This is for Earth," Do-hyun said quietly as he watched the battle unfold. The space around the human fleet turned into chaos. The thousands of small mines that had been invisible moments ago were now glowing with blue energy. Each created a bubble of distorted gravity. The Vargon ships that hit these bubbles suffered terribly. Their massive size, once their greatest strength, became their worst weakness. The gravity pulled different parts of their ships in different directions. Metal twisted, engines exploded, weapons tore free from their mounts. "My God," whispered Subin as they watched the destruction from the bridge of the Persistent. "It's working even better than we expected." Do-hyun nodded grimly. "Their armor is too heavy. The gravity fields are pulling it apart. On the tactical display?" Jinho pointed to several Vargon ships that had managed to stop before hitting any gravity fields. "Some of them realize what was happening. They've stopped moving." "But they're trapped," Do-hyun said. "Look at the mine positions. They can't go forward or back without hitting a field." He opened a channel to Admiral Jiwoo. "Admiral, Phase 1 complete. The minefield is active. About 15 Vargon ships are destroyed. Another 20 are trapped between gravity fields. The rest are trying to retreat." "Excellent," Jiwoo responded. "Begin Phase 2. Do-hyun turned to his crew. "You heard the Admiral. Phase 2. Target the trapped ships. Weapons free." The 10 human ships split into pairs. Each pair moved toward a different section of the minefield. They knew the safe paths through the gravity fields. The Vargons did not. The Persistent moved, alongside another human ship, the Swift. Together, they approached a section where 3 Vargon ships were trapped. Target the lead ship, Do-hyun ordered. Jin-ho locked weapons on the nearest Vargon vessel. Target locked. Fire. The Persistent and the Swift fired together. Their weapons had been specially designed to penetrate Vargon shields. The beams of energy struck the trapped alien ship. Its shields flickered, then failed. A second volley hit the ship's engines. They exploded in a ball of fire. 1 down, Jin-ho reported. The other 2 Vargon ships began firing back, but trapped as they were, they couldn't maneuver. The human ships could. Evasive pattern Delta, Do-hyun ordered. The Persistent and the Swift moved in a coordinated dance, dodging the Vargon fire while staying on the safe path through the minefield. They continued firing at the trapped ships. All across the battlefield, the same scene played out. The human ships, moving freely along their safe paths, attacked the trapped Vargon vessels. It was like shooting fish in a barrel. The Vargon flagship is trying to coordinate a retreat, Subin reported, listening to the alien communications. They're in chaos. They don't understand what's happening. Do-hyun nodded. Send a message to War Commander Grek. Tell him we accept his surrender. There was a pause as Subin transmitted the message. Then she looked up, surprised. He's responding, Captain. Grek's face appeared on the main screen. The alien commander looked furious. 2 of his 4 eyes were swollen shut. Blood seeped from a cut on his head. What trickery is this, human? He demanded. What weapons are you using against us? No trickery, War Commander, Do-hyun replied calmly. Just good planning. Those are gravity disruptors. They create areas where space itself becomes unstable. Your ships are too big and heavy to survive passing through them. Impossible, Grek snarled. No race has developed such technology. We had to, Do-hyun said. As you pointed out, our ships are skinny. We don't have the resources to build massive warships like yours, so we found another way to fight. He leaned forward in his chair. Now, about your surrender. Grek roared in anger. The Vargon Empire does not surrender. Look around you, Commander. Half your fleet is destroyed, the rest are trapped or fleeing. You've lost. The alien's remaining eyes narrowed. Even if we lose this battle, the Empire will send more ships. Hundreds more. You cannot stand against the full might of the Vargon Empire. Do-hyun smiled slightly. Actually, we can. We've already proven that. Your massive ships are no match for our minefield. And we can build thousands more gravity disruptors. He paused, letting his words sink in. But it doesn't have to be that way. We offered you a treaty once, we'll offer it again. Peace between our peoples. Trade instead of war. Grek was silent for a long moment. Then, to everyone's surprise, he laughed. But it wasn't the mocking laugh they had heard before. This was bitter. You tricked us, he said. We thought your ships were weak because they were different from ours. We were wrong. Yes, Do-hyun agreed. You were. A loud explosion rocked Grek's ship. The screen shook violently. We are experiencing system failures, the Vargon admitted. Our engines are damaged. We can help, Do-hyun offered. We know the safe path through the minefield. We can guide your remaining ships out. Another explosion. The screen flickered. In exchange for what? Peace, Do-hyun said simply. Real treaty. No more talk of conquest. Grek seemed to struggle internally. Centuries of Vargon pride fought against the reality of their situation. Finally, he nodded. I will consider your terms. Send your treaty proposal again. The screen went dark. Did he just agree to talk peace? Jin-ho asked, amazed. He's considering it, Do-hyun corrected. There's a difference. Message from Admiral Jiwoo, Subin reported. The rest of the Vargon fleet is in full retreat. They're trying to find a way out of the minefield. Some of them will make it, Do-hyun said. That's good. We want survivors to tell the tale. Tell what tale? Asked Jun-ho. The tale of how the skinny human ships defeated the mighty Vargon fleet. How our different approach to warfare caught them completely by surprise. Do-hyun looked at the tactical display. The battle was winding down. More than half the Vargon ships were destroyed. The rest were damaged and trying to retreat or surrender. "Contact the other human ships," he ordered. "Tell them to hold their fire unless fired upon, and have them guide any surrendering Vargon ships to the safe corridors." As the orders went out, Do-hyun sat back in his chair and took a deep breath. It was over. The plan had worked even better than expected. "We did it," Jin-ho said quietly. "Mi-suk did it," Do-hyun corrected. "Her plan worked perfectly." "No," Jin-ho shook his head. "All of us did it. Her plan, Taeho's mines, our ships, Admiral Jiwoo's leadership, everyone on Earth working together." Do-hyun nodded. He looked out at the battlefield on the main screen. Drifting debris from destroyed Vargon ships, the glowing blue spheres of the active mines. The remaining Vargon vessels now being guided to safety by human ships a fraction of their size. "Send a message to Earth Command," he said. "The trap worked. The Vargons are defeated." A cheer went up from the bridge crew. Even the usually serious Subin was smiling as she sent the message. "What happens now, Captain?" Jun-ho asked. Do-hyun looked at the young navigator. "Now we rebuild. We strengthen our defenses, and maybe if we're lucky, we make peace." "With the Vargons?" Jin-ho asked, skeptical. "They've learned a valuable lesson today," Do-hyun said. "Sometimes the greatest strength comes in unexpected forms." He thought of the human ships, slim and nimble compared to the massive Vargon vessels. Different, but not weak. In fact, their difference had been their advantage. "They laughed at our skinny ships," Do-hyun said. "They're not laughing anymore." 3 days after the battle, Earth celebrated its victory. For the first time in history, all nations shared the same feeling: pride. They had faced an alien threat together and won. At UNSC headquarters in Seoul, Admiral Ji-woo Lee stood before the United Nations Security Council. The large meeting room was packed with military leaders, politicians, and reporters from around the world. "The threat has been neutralized," Admiral Ji-woo announced. "Of the 50 Vargon ships that entered our system, 28 were destroyed, 15 surrendered, the rest retreated." A cheer went up from the crowd. Ji-woo waited for it to die down before continuing. "The victory was not without cost. 2 of our 10 ships were lost during the battle, the Swift and the Dauntless. We remember their brave crews today." The room fell silent. Ji-woo bowed her head for a moment, then continued. "But their sacrifice was not in vain. We have obtained valuable information from the captured Vargon ships. We now understand their technology better, and we have opened diplomatic talks with the survivors." A man in the front row raised his hand. "Admiral, is it true that the Vargon Empire might send more ships?" "It's possible," Ji-woo admitted, "but not likely. The Vargon commander has communicated with his homeworld. He has, shall we say, strongly advised against further attacks on Earth." Another hand went up. "What changed his mind?" Ji-woo smiled slightly. "I'll let the man who spoke with him answer that. Captain Kim, would you please join me?" Do-hyun, who had been sitting in the front row, stood and walked to the podium. He wore his dress uniform, freshly pressed for the occasion. A new medal hung on his chest, the Star of Earth, the highest honor any nation could give. "Thank you, Admiral," he said. Then he turned to face the crowd. "The Vargon commander, Grek, asked me a question during his surrender. He wanted to know why we built such skinny ships with so little armor." Do-hyun paused, remembering the conversation with the alien. "I told him that humans learned long ago that sometimes the best armor isn't armor at all. It's making sure you don't get hit in the first place." The crowd laughed. Do-hyun continued. "The Vargons have ruled their part of space through brute force for centuries. Their strategy has always been simple: build bigger ships with more weapons and thicker armor than anyone else. It's worked for them until now." He leaned forward slightly. "They never considered that there might be another way to fight, a way that uses intelligence instead of force, strategy instead of size." "What did the Vargon commander say to that?" someone asked. "He was quiet for a long time," Do-hyun recalled. "Then he said something I'll never forget. He said, 'Perhaps the Vargon Empire has something to learn from humans after all.'" Another cheer went up from the crowd. Admiral Jiwoo stepped forward. Again, Captain Kim's ship led the fleet that lured the Vargans into our trap. But the real hero of this victory is the person who designed the trap. Defense strategist Mi-suk Kim, please join us. Mi-suk walked onto the stage. Unlike Do-hyun, she wasn't in uniform. Instead, she wore a simple business suit. But she too had the Star of Earth medal on her chest. Strategist Kim, Jiwoo said, would you please explain to everyone how you developed the strategy that saved Earth? Mi-suk looked uncomfortable at being the center of attention, but she stepped to the microphone. I simply looked at what we had and what we didn't have, she said. We didn't have the resources to build massive ships like the Vargans, but we did have brilliant scientists like Tae Ho-yoon, who had developed experimental gravity technology. She gestured to Tai Ho, who sat in the front row next to Han Sol. Both men also wore the Star of Earth. The Vargans made a critical error, Mi-suk continued. They assumed that because our technology looked different, it was inferior. They never considered that we might have developed along an entirely different technological path. A reporter raised a hand. Will we be safe if they come back? We're manufacturing more mines every day, Mi-suk answered. And now that we've captured Vargan ships, we're learning from their technology too. Earth will be ready if they return. But we hope they don't, Do-hyun added. We hope instead that this is the beginning of peaceful relations between our peoples. The questions continued for another hour. The world wanted to know everything about the battle, about the aliens, about Earth's new defenses. Finally, the press conference ended. As the crowd began to disperse, Do-hyun found Mi-suk standing alone by a window, looking out at the city of Seoul. You should be celebrating, he said, joining her. You're a hero. Mi-suk shook her head. I just did my job. The real heroes are the crews of the Swift and the Dauntless. Yes, Do-hyun agreed solemnly. Their sacrifice saved all of us. They stood in silence for a moment, honoring the memory of those lost in the battle. What happens now? Mi-suk finally asked. Now? Do-hyun looked at her. Now I've been ordered to lead a diplomatic mission to the Vargan homeworld, to negotiate a formal peace treaty. Mi-suk's eyes widened. That's dangerous. Even with their defeat, some Vargans might want revenge. That's true, Do-hyun nodded. Which is why I need the best strategic mind on Earth to come with me, to help me plan for every possibility. Mi-suk looked down at her hands, then back up at Do-hyun. When do we leave? Next month. The Persistent is being refitted for the journey. He paused. It will be a long mission, possibly a year or more. I understand, Mi-suk said. I'll be ready. Do-hyun took her hand. For the first time since they'd met, he saw her truly smile. They turned together to look out the window at the city below. People moved through the streets, going about their daily lives. Children played in parks. Workers hurried to meetings. Everyone safe, thanks to the victory. In orbit above them, the captured Vargan ships floated alongside human vessels. Engineers from both species worked together, learning from each other's technology. And throughout the solar system, thousands of small mines continued their silent patrol, ready to activate if needed again. Earth had faced its first alien threat and survived. Not through overwhelming force, but through intelligence and innovation. They laughed at our skinny ships, Mi-suk said softly. They're not laughing anymore, Do-hyun finished. As word of the battle spread throughout the galaxy, other spacefaring races took notice. The species with the skinny ships had defeated one of the most powerful military forces known, not through superior firepower, but through clever strategy. The Vargans had a new saying that quickly spread to other worlds. Judge not the human, ships by their armor, but by the minds of those who built them. And on 1,000 alien worlds, engineers began drawing up plans for smaller, faster ships with less armor. Because sometimes, the best way to win a fight isn't to be stronger. Sometimes, it's to be smarter. Dr. Ji-young Park looked out the big window of the spaceship. Stars filled the black empty space outside. The ship she worked on was called the UNSS Mercy. It was Earth's best medical ship. Its white hull shone in the light of a distant sun as it moved through space. "Dr. Park, how are the vaccine supplies?" asked Captain Tae-woo Kim from the doorway of the medical bay. Ji-young turned away from the window. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat bun. Her white medical uniform was clean and pressed. "All ready, Captain. We have enough to treat everyone on New Horizon, both the human settlers and the local species." Captain Kim nodded. He was tall with broad shoulders. His uniform was blue with silver buttons. He had been in the Earth Space Corps for 20 years. Everyone trusted him. "Good. We will reach the colony in 6 hours." The UNSS Mercy was no ordinary ship. Inside it held the best medical equipment humans had ever made. There were surgery rooms that could work for any known species. There were machines that could make medicine from basic elements. There were beds for 200 patients. And there was Dr. Park's team. 30 doctors and nurses trained to heal anyone, no matter what they looked like or where they came from. Earth had built ships like the Mercy because humans believed in helping others. When the people of Earth went to the stars, they brought their doctors with them. "Captain," called Summon Choi from her seat at the front of the bridge, "I'm getting more messages from New Horizon. The sickness is spreading faster." Summon was the ship's communications officer. Her job was to talk to people on planets and other ships. Her fingers moved quickly over her screen as she read the incoming message. "How bad?" Captain Kim asked, walking to stand behind her chair. "Very bad. They say 50 new cases since yesterday. Both humans and Loranians are getting sick." The Loranians were the people who lived on New Horizon before humans came. They looked like tall, thin humans with light blue skin. They had lived peacefully with the human settlers for 15 years. "We need to go faster," said the captain. He turned to look at Do-hyun Lee, the ship's engineer. "Can we push the engines more?" Do-hyun was young but very smart. His hands were always slightly dirty from working with the ship's machines. "Yes, Captain, I can give you more speed, but I need to check the cooling systems first. Give me 10 minutes. Captain Kim nodded. "Do it." Elsewhere on the ship, security. Officer Hanol Song walked through the corridors. His job was to keep everyone safe. The Mercy had no weapons. Medical ships never did. But it had strong shields. Hanol checked the shield controls every day. Today he felt worried. The ship was heading close to Vargan space. The Vargans were not friendly. They were tall beings with thick gray skin and 4 arms. They did not like other species. They especially did not like humans. But they had signed peace agreements with Earth 20 years ago. "Security report." Captain Kim's voice came through Hanul's communicator. "All clear, Captain," Hanul replied. "Shields are at full strength. No other ships on our sensors. Good, but stay alert, we're close to the border." "Yes, sir." Back in the medical bay, Dr. Park was talking to her team. 12 doctors and 18 nurses stood around her. They were from different parts of Earth: Korea, Nigeria, Brazil, Canada, India, and many other places. Humans had learned long ago that working together made them stronger. "The sickness on New Horizon affects the lungs," Dr. Park explained. "It makes it hard to breathe. It started in the mining area and spread to the main colony. Both humans and Loranians can catch it." Young nurse named Yunha raised her hand. "Do we know what causes it?" "Not yet," said Dr. Park. "It could be a virus, a bacteria, or something in the air. We will need to run tests as soon as we land." "How will we protect ourselves?" asked Dr. Junho, one of the senior doctors. "We will wear full biosuits until we know what we're dealing with," Dr. Park answered. "No exceptions." The medical team nodded. They had done this before on other worlds. They were not afraid. After the meeting, Dr. Park went to her small room. She took out a picture of her family, her husband and their 2 children. They were back on Earth, in Seoul. She missed them, but her work was important. She was saving lives across the stars. Her communicator beeped. "Dr. Park, to the bridge, please." When she arrived, Captain Kim pointed to the main screen. It showed a picture of New Horizon, a green and blue planet with 2 small moons. "We're entering the planet's system," he said. "I wanted you to see it." "Doctor?" Park smiled. No matter how many planets she visited, seeing a new world always felt special. "Captain," called out Sumin from her station. "I'm picking up a signal. 3 ships have just appeared on the edge of the system." Captain Kim frowned. "Show me." The screen changed. Now it showed 3 dark shapes against the stars. They were moving fast. "Can you tell what kind of ships they are?" the captain asked. Do-yun, who had returned to the bridge, looked at his screens. "Checking their engine signatures. They're Vargan, Captain." A heavy silence fell over the bridge. "What are Vargan ships doing here?" Dr. Park asked. "New Horizon isn't near their territory." "I don't know," said Captain Kim. His face was serious now. "But I don't like it. Somin, open a channel to Earth Command. Tell them about the Vargan ships." "Yes, Captain." "Should we change course?" asked Hanyul, who had just arrived on the bridge. "Captain," Kim thought for a moment. "No, we're on a medical mission. We're not breaking any rules. And those people down there need our help. We continue as planned." Dr. Park looked at the Vargan ships on the screen. They were getting closer. "Somin, also, open a channel to the Vargan ships," ordered the captain. "Let's be polite and tell them who we are and why we're here." "Channel open, sir." Captain Kim stood straight. "This is Captain Tae-woo Kim of the Earth medical ship UNSS Mercy. We are on a humanitarian mission to New Horizon to help with a medical emergency. We come in peace." They waited. No answer came. "Try again," said the captain. Somin tried 3 more times. Still no answer. The Vargan ships were now clearly visible without the sensors. They were large and black with sharp points at the front. They looked like weapons, not like ships meant for peace. "They're changing course," Do-yun said suddenly, looking at his screen. "They're heading straight for us, fast." Captain Kim's face grew stern. "Hanyul, full shields. Somin, send an emergency message to Earth Command. Tell them we have Vargan ships approaching us at high speed." "Captain," Do-yun's voice was tense. "They've locked weapons on us." Dr. Park felt her heart beat faster. "But we're a medical ship. We have the Red Cross on our hull. Everyone knows what that means." Captain Kim looked at her. His eyes were sad but determined. "Prepare your medical team, Doctor. I hope I'm wrong, but we may have wounded soon." The bridge grew quiet except for the sound of the computers. Everyone watched as the Vargan ships came closer and closer. No one on the UNSS Mercy knew it yet, but they were about to become part of history. The beginning of a conflict that would show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of.